Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media. Thomas, let's do a quickie, all right? I want to talk about these three ladies who are going to be on Megyn Kelly today to talk about their escapades with Trump. That would be Jessica Leeds, Samantha Holvey, Rachel Cooks. Unmask them.
Oh, Betsy, I'm so happy to. As a matter of fact, when you told me this was happening and that loser Megyn Kelly is basically ending her career today at 10:30.
Hard up to make her mortgage payment.
Because remember, she sexually harassed Trump by accusing him of, when he said blood, that the blood had something to do with her sexual blood. It's like, this woman is so sick.
Only a perverted person would even think that, you know?
I told you the second that you said this is going to happen. And then I read it on Truth News headlines. I said, okay, that's the old lady who's so old to be his grandmother that he was supposedly, that's Jessica Leeds, who supposedly in first class, he reached across the aisle, made out with her, grabbed her breasts, and put his hand up her dress. The man who was sitting right behind him, the second this came out during the election, said she's a liar. Take a look at her. Take a look at her. She could be Trump's grandmother. It didn't happen. She just wants to be a good Democrat and make up whatever she can.
Yes, but dear, when she was a younger woman, this happened. So she's younger than the picture today. So she wasn't that grandmother back then.
I don't care. Take a look at her.
Oh, I'm not saying
she's got to
true.
She looks like she's on
if
death's doorway.
As a woman, if someone made that kind of overt gesture to me in that kind of way, don't you think I'd stand up and say something?
As a billionaire, personally, me as a billionaire, I love to reach across the aisle and commit a crime in front of everybody watching because that's what I do because I have a lot of money and nobody's going to sue me.
Okay, so she's full of horse caca.
Stupid.
How about the other ones?
She was proven to be a lying piece of manure that when she came out with this. Second one, Samantha Holvey. Okay, that's pathetic. He ran Miss USA. He ran Miss Universe. It was his friggin' job to look at people before they walked out onto the stage. That's all he did. That's what she has accused him of. She felt dirty because he looked at all the girls before they went out on the stage to make sure that there was nothing amiss.
That's exactly what the Miss America contests are all about. It's about physical presence.
Her accusation is stupid and pathetic. There were no words of harassment. There was no insinuation of anything sexual. He looked at her. These are the kind of accusations Megyn Kelly is bringing forth today to try to get Trump impeached because, trying to insinuate that he's a Harvey Weinstein.
Well, no, they're seeing all their other corrupt globalists fall they're just falling right and left, so they think they can do the same thing for Trump. Okay, who is the third dirty gal?
The second one who was in Miss
USA
was Samantha Holvey. We've said her. The third dirty gal is Rachel Cooks. She's a cook. She's just put an R in it, crook, or just a kook. She is a kook. Why? This is her accusation. In Trump Tower, she's a secretary. And Trump happens to step on the elevator with her, and they're alone on the elevator.
Settle down, Thomas.
First off, he rides a different elevator than the public. Second off, that's absurd that he'd be on that elevator alone with anybody ever. And then supposedly he started making out with her and groping her body, and they just had a wonderful time, I guess, until the door opened.
Well, look, it just shows me that Megyn Kelly is either hard up for money or hard up for trying to keep her ratings for that mega salary she's making. She is just full of lies. I mean, if anyone in our group listens to her other than extracting the lies that she's telling us, it would just bother me if our people were.
Now, we have to remember that in this article and in the broadcast today, Megyn Kelly is going to use the following phrase: Trump has had 16 allegations brought against him. That is a lie. There were no allegations brought against any of his 25,000 staff members in all the time that he's conducted business. And he's a billionaire. You usually try to sue the people with the deep pockets. Never a single case, not one he had to buy off, not one he had to gag, not one he had to create a non-disclosure agreement with. Nothing. These are all nothing burgers. He got the most beautiful women in the world, okay? So why would he care about these other people? And why would he put his entire kingdom at stake for attacking Rachel Cooks, who filed no charges, never saw him again? He says he's never seen her. But supposedly when she was interviewed during the time of the election that this came out, she says, I don't understand, in her second interview. She says, why I didn't get more attention. these are really big claims. How come I didn't get any more attention? In other words, she's a media whore. Now, let's go on to what I supposed that Megyn would bring up, but she probably didn't because it just got debunked. And so in the news, Thomas is right. Thomas Paine. Those of you keeping the scorecard out there, you're going to have to put 3 checks next to things that only Thomas Paine himself, not even with the conclave.
Thomas Paine of the Anonymous Patriots.
Of the Anonymous
American
Patriots.
Intelligence Media.
Yes.
Not of True Pundit, although a shout out to Thomas Paine of True Pundit.
Yeah, because he's going after, Thomas Paine of True Pundit is going after
I
the
heard-
list of
yes.
the sexual predators in the Congress. Yes!
Yes, bring it
264 occurrences. Please bring forth the list.
That's real reporting and investigative work.
That's why Megyn Kelly, who was a bought and paid for prostitute, simply is doing their last ditch attempt. This is such a pathetic attempt, and it's such a whimper. She didn't even go towards the real pay dirt here. The reason she didn't go to the pay dirt is because it's a lie, and I'll demonstrate that in just a minute. Let's remember Bill Clinton's 4 of the people he raped and sexually harassed and manipulated that then Hillary threatened, which is just a list of dozens. We're not even mentioning Bill Clinton. Isn't that amazing? But we're going to mention a sitting president with these false attacks. Now, the biggest false attack, which Megyn Kelly will bring out, is the false attack of, this is the worst of all. It's the most incredibly stupid thing. We now know that this is true and that I was correct, that this was a paid person and that they worked from the DNC and that they were paid, we now know, by exactly who I said. Hillary Clinton, through her super PAC, paid Fusion, and Fusion paid for the dossier. I mean, and the Hillary super PAC paid for part of the dossier, and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, paid for the other part. We know that. There's speculations of up to $12 million was paid for this, right? I said this from the beginning. But I also said that Jane Doe, who came in and claimed in court with not even giving her name. The only thing she gave was a telephone number, didn't give an address. And she claimed that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein raped her when she was a teenager. And so the court said, do you have any witnesses? And she says, no. Eventually, 2 witnesses showed up, both of whom said they had to be anonymous and wouldn't give a name, a number, an address, or anything to the court. But that was only after Jane Doe didn't show up for the second court hearing where it had to be dropped because Jane Doe didn't show up. Now, what is that about? When they called the number Jane Doe gave, the person who accused Trump of raping her, it was the Democratic National Committee who answered. Their phone. It was their phone. Hello? Now, knowing this, and this is now a fact, they know this is a fact, because these things had to come out because they want to get Trump. Oh, they're so desperate to get Trump.
It's a failing coup d'etat.
And now they're trying to use the sexual harassment coup d'etat. And basically, we can go to the one thing that he did say, and that's that, can I say the P word on...
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, Thomas.
Well, as they said, they accused him of saying that anytime he sees a beautiful woman, he looks at her, and if he wants her, he just walks up, starts making out with her, and grabs her pussy. He was describing consensual sex, and first off, you can't grab a pussy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you've tried and you're successful. Send in your methodologies, because I say it was a stupid remark that doesn't even have anything to do with female genitalia. Anatomically, it is a stupid statement,
okay,
and he's
Thomas,
never done it. And if he had ever done it, some woman would have come forward and sued him because he has a lot of money.
Listen, get back on the point.
Okay, the woman who said that, the girl, Jane Doe, who said Jeffrey Epstein raped her. Who is Jeffrey Epstein? He has Lolita Island, where Bill Clinton, we know by court records, went at least 26 times. He signed in going there, leaving his security staff behind. He doesn't take security staff to the island where Jeffrey Epstein has been charged and convicted with basically sex trafficking in underage girls. And every famous person in the world that is corrupt loves to go there. Trump has never gone to the island. They've accused him of going there twice. Wrong. He flew in Lolita twice when they were going somewhere.
Well, you know, that was a Fusion GPS trying to put that story out. It failed.
I'm getting ready to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You took my thunder away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go. Oh, okay.
So there you go. Y'all, mark it on your thing. I told you it was I told you that it was oppositional research paid for by Hillary Clinton's super PAC. I think it's called Victory PAC. No, it's good because, you see, the other thing that they paid for is the dossier. We all know that. But another thing that has come out, and the reason we know that the rape case is fake, and let me continue with the rape case. Not only is she fake, not only did she use a DNC, Democratic National Committee telephone number, but then they tried to bring out, once that was dropped and she didn't show up for the second court hearing, they then said, oh yeah, but he's friends with Epstein. But then that brought out the fact that Bill Clinton's friends with Epstein, and on that island, horrifying things go on. Just look at the list who goes there. So he had, a few parties that he went to with Jeffrey at, and twice he rode back in Jeffrey's plane when they were riding back to New York from some place where they had both been, instead of riding in his own plane. Oh, that doesn't make him a person who went to Lolita Island and has any association with that. So Jeffrey Epstein saying he and Jeffrey Epstein raped somebody. Now, had they say Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein raped somebody? Well, that's a fact. We even have pictures. We have pictures of him standing with these girls, underage girls. We know their names. The same one that's involved with royalty in Europe have come to have sex with this girl. So did Bill Clinton. He's got his hands all over her. There's no doubt that this girl was one of the people that Bill was visiting on Lolita Island. Okay? So that was paid for also. That's the amazing thing, is that Silverstein, in reporting, Silverstein, who wrote this article for Vice, when they were questioning him, he actually stated this, and then it was again confirmed by Glenn Simpson, bragging about this long before anything about the dossier was really released to the public and before the leak started to happen. So, now, the other one I want to mark is the following. I had told everyone that Franklin Foer from Slate magazine, online magazine, his fake stories about the Trump Tower servers being connected to Russian banks and that money is being shifted back and forth, all lies. It's all been proven to be a lie. Even Comey, after it came out, 2 days later, Comey came out and said it's not true. And so it was an October surprise, literally brought out October 31st. Franklin Foer actually released the second of his articles. The first one didn't get any attention. The second one said, oh my gosh, here's the 100% absolute Russian collusion proof. Guess who paid Franklin Foer?
I know the answer, but I'm not saying.
Say it.
George Bush. I've been saying, Jeb Bush. Well, Jeb Bush gets his money from Daddy Bush. It's the Bushes.
Yeah, well, to begin with, yes. Okay. But it was Fusion GPS who paid Franklin for those stupid articles.
Well, I want to say, if you keep tracking the money back, it's going to go back to Jeb.
And then we want to say also that recently it came out that it was not Paul Singer who gave the Washington Free Beacon the money to do the first Trump opposition research. That is a lie. It was Jeb Bush, exactly as Betsy and Thomas predicted. We're the only ones who predicted this. We're the only ones who predicted that the Franklin Foer money and that the other dossier money came from Hillary's super PAC.
It's a big duh. Who has the most to lose here is the Bush cabal that's been running this joint since he was with the CIA back then, and they have, when it comes out that he was behind the assassination or had a large part in the assassination of JFK and everything going forward that we even see today, they're the big loser. So they've got to cover this up.
Yes, and also the other thing we pointed out, the WikiLeaks showed that they already had Trump opposition research in the DNC server. It was released. I've read it. I don't know why anybody else hasn't read it. Guess what they had on him as opposition research that they were going to be able to attack him on? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So they had to start making up this stuff. Okay.
So, Jeb Bush's attempt? Nothing. Comey's original FBI report on Trump and his daddy? Nothing. Franklin Foer's Trump Tower? Nothing. The Trump-Russian collusion dossier, fake? Nothing. Felix Slater's attempt with the Russian lawyer to set up Don Jr.? Nothing, Burger. Felix, all of these are Comey attacks. I don't know when this is going to simply just be accepted as common knowledge because all the pieces are all laid out on the table. So, folks, if you get worried that they're coming after Trump and, Megyn Kelly is coming after Trump, it's going to end her career permanently. That is my prediction personally, and I think Betsy would probably agree with that. That may be the end of Megyn Kelly as we know her on the air.
Just stop watching her. turn off the frickin' TV. I mean, it's propaganda media. We've already shown you in our citizen intelligence reports that it is legal because of the NDAA to use this propaganda against citizens. So if you know that the gun is aimed at your head, go into another room.
There have been no Trump sexual allegations for misconduct, for abuse, for sexual improprieties. Nothing. There have been no Trump rape cases. Those are Bill Clinton. Don't you get it? Russian collusion was Hillary. Trump sexual harassment and misconduct, that was Bill. This is simply spin. It's just your standard CIA doublespeak spin. So people, if you watch the show, laugh all the way through it because it's the end of Megyn Kelly, and it's the end of probably the last time we'll ever have to hear from Jessica Leeds, Samantha Holvey, and Rachel Cooks, because they have nothing.